Right, and now we're live.
Go ahead, open it up.
It's all good. Here, Jim Carrey here, over for CIL, over here with La Bamba.
Howdy.
We're here for another fantastic game, this time between the Burnsiders and Skill Issue. Ooh.
Yeah, really interesting. We have, well, trying to get everybody shuffled into the lobby room right now, but yeah, PDX versus Skill Issue. This is one that's going to be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing the outcome of this one. Both these teams are sitting very squarely in good positions on the standings board. Losing this would almost secure Burnsiders out of the top four. Winning this would definitely keep them in the struggle to stay within the finals, which is going to be on the 18th. So, interesting. Skill Issue, if they lose this, I think they can take the hit. You know, 7-5 is annoying, but it's not 6-6. So, you know, there's an opportunity to be had there. If they win this, and they just, I believe they go up a place and secure themselves further into the finals. So, you know, it's definitely a little lopsided there as far as what stakes are at play, but I don't think that's gonna change the outcome of the matches too much.
Yeah, Skill Issue is definitely a team. They don't need to have a lot of pressure put onto them to still play solid and have a good show, though. So this is definitely like a team to where they will still go through and they'll show us how to play maps properly. A lot of these teams, when they go into it, they have to have the pressure put onto them to be like, okay, I'll play Harbor how you're supposed to. I won't try and just squeeze by with some kind of silly strategy that the other team hasn't seen before.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see what these teams are going to pick. I do believe Burnsiders, well, they haven't even gone for map bans yet, so we're trying to figure out where Burnsiders is. There is a limit. There is a time limit. If the teams aren't here by a certain time point, it is considered a forfeit. But I'm relatively confident that the Burnsiders are shuffling in.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow burn. You know, we're around winter time over here in November. It's okay for a little bit of slow burn, as long as they do all come in. And you're saying you're fairly confident they will show. I'm fairly confident that they'll all show as well.
They're late, but they show up. So, you know, that's just
yeah, you know, fashionably late.
Yeah, the problem though is that there are time limits. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, we do have Skill Issue looking like they're going to be playing with Zolta and Mikazuki, so this is a really interesting team comp. Zolta,
yeah, you have the classics.
Zolta was the player who had to use the breathing tube as input methods, I think. So yeah, that was interesting. So I'm relatively confident he's still doing that. So see where it goes.
I haven't heard about that before. What's that like?
It was one of them. It might not have been Zolta. It might have been someone else. But one of the Skill Issue players had some medical issues and had to use a breathing tube as an input method, which I thought was very interesting. And they were playing Hyperion for most of their matches. So. And they got some really nasty 4Ks and 5Ks. So with the Hyperion ult, so they weren't playing bad at all, which interests the hell out of interests me. So
well, I mean, it's you actually see this a fair amount. Primarily in fighting games is where a lot of those kind of stories pop up.
Yeah,
where you'll see like Brawley Lakes. He'll go through and people will play controllers with their mouth, or they will be completely blind and they'll rely exclusively on sound to play. Obviously, for a FPS, those kinds of limitations can be a lot harder, and that's why they gravitate towards fighting games. But having a variety of issues to where you just have to adapt to having to use an external controller scheme, such as, you know, breathing, that's really interesting and honestly pretty cool. It's a good showcase of those kinds of people who are saying, I don't have the proper controller or I don't have the proper setup. I'll be honest, you could be playing on trackpad, you could have breathing issues, you could actually have a ball mouse. And realistically, if you've put in enough time or you have enough inherent skill towards those kinds of things, you can still produce results.
Absolutely. Some of the best players I know were not even using that crazy of a setup. I mean, most of us just ran Death Adders back in the day. You know, and it's like, oh, Death Adder gaming mouse, yeah, but it's like, we're not talking about, some ultra lightweight, special pinned, fingertip grip nonsense.
Yeah, you really don't need it. If you
it.
want, you can use one of those Wii controller with the nunchucks and with the gun input where you aim. I've seen people with motion controls do silly stuff. You've heard stories of people with steering wheels going into fighting games and just playing with those.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a really good example. Yeah. So, I mean, input method is just that, an input method. It's up to the player behind it to make the input method work. But it looks like we're still waiting on Burnsiders. Well, that team is here, so...
They're starting to trickle in, though.
Let's see if the system updated, if the map bans have begun. No, they haven't.
Maybe, yeah, while people are still trickling in, we can definitely crack down the whip and tell some folks to get some map bans done. I mean, it can't be too hard. Let's get rid of Mountain R&D. We can start moving.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to take care of some things on the admin end.
Ooh, some water went down the wrong pipe.
Happens.
So, what kind of maps do you suspect we'll see?
I mean, Burnsiders very much likes to go with de facto stuff, so I expect to see Flakfort, I expect to see Harbor, I expect to see Colony, R&D, Quarry, the kind of normal run-of-the-mill. I know Skill Issue likes to get out there a little bit, so we might see something unique. We might, who knows? We might see Thermal Plant, Underground Command Center.
Yeah, we might even see... I haven't seen too much of Skill Issue's opinions on the new map, but I've talked about the newer maps. It feels like if you are just a really good team, we haven't had enough time to play and learn on those maps. So if you just feel confident as like the quote-unquote better team, it's not unreasonable to try and take someone to those maps and just trounce them in that kind of way. Whereas Harbor can feel a bit apprehensive to run into, but you can feel confident like, hey, we've played on this map for months now. We can do something on it. Whereas you go to the conveyance facility, the big new snow map, not a lot of people have ran on that map too much or ran it properly. I've talked about this with Price and a few other folks, is where people try to hold it is in that first initial holdout right there. Whereas it seems like the best kind of way you could be running it is back onto the point itself.
Yeah, sorry, the game crashed, so I now have to go in and fix this again. So
that's a classic Jibo moment. Glad it happened here before the match was actually going.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was also dealing with some admin stuff on the back end. So it looks like Sakura Chiyono will be playing for Burnsiders, which is interesting.
Huh.
And then we also have... Not sure if Broken Butter was already part of that.
Yeah, Broken Butter, Lacrum, Overdrive. Then, of course, we have Valid rocking the Goo in You Bro. Very classy name. Old Goo Gang member right there.
So it looks like we're going to have a very interesting roster from Burnsiders, seeing what they're going to pull out. But I need to get back into the game, so let me.
That's okay. You'll be able to rush in here in no time.
Yeah. So let me do that. But see, so that changes things, right? Because soccer is really really comfortable on things like Zeta, or things like Exia. So it might be interesting to see maybe the team, maybe Burnsiders pick colony trading a little bit more. You know, maybe they're a little bit more okay with.
Yeah, it's trying to guess what they'll go about doing is a little difficult. This is certainly like a team that we haven't seen fully formed right here. It's a different kind of roster brought on. Valid, of course, being new, but these are good players. But it's just hard to tell what they'll do. But on the other side of the issue is we have Skill Issue. These are just really good players, so I could just see them go to any map as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see what the. I can see this going to game 3. So you know what maps they're gonna pick. You know, but what maps they're gonna. What maps is going to be the decider? That's what's going to be interesting. So it looks like.
Yeah, how they try and fall down to what final map they want to go to. Obviously, trying to corner the other team to limit their options for their first and second map is also fairly important. But again, it's really difficult to do that to Skill Issue. So you're probably just going to see Burnsiders try to make it to where, hey, we are confident on these types of maps, and then maybe force Skill Issue to go about banning something like Zeta, as you were saying.
Yeah, let me scroll this down so we can actually see what's going on. Okay, cool. So, the ban screen is up. They are going to start banning hopefully soon. They do have... I'm going to give it 4 minutes, because this is a little ridiculous. 15-minute delayed start time is kind of insane. So, I do need those bans to start coming out very quickly. Just gonna be updating here to make sure that the page is working correctly. Yes. Trying to see. Yeah, no, it's just not.
Still, well, with a delayed start, even if they don't go to game 3, it seems like there's a fair amount of time. So again, a healthy recommendation: maybe grab some snacks, some drinks. Might be in this one for the long haul.
Let me just ensure that they're in the map ban screen. Okay, so they have started banning. Okay, cool. So I don't have to. Alright. Okay. So, Lunar Com has been banned by Burnsiders. It's interesting. It's pretty normal.
That is interesting.
Not everybody likes the map. I think everybody should learn how to play every map so that you can pull out maybe some weird ones here and there. Skill Issue bans Missile Base. So you know, it's the maps that not everybody's accustomed to playing, maybe comfortable playing. You know, at some point though, you do kind of have to learn every map though. It's kind of
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think there are a couple of maps that you just sort of universally agree to not go to. Missile Base seems like that is the map.
It's a shame because it's a really good Mahiru map, so that one kind of confuses me a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely has some strengths to it. I think it's that initial choke that a lot of people do not like playing for. And with how a lot of the playstyles go, is they kind of want to just have less of a hard choke to rely on, defending and attacking.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. So yeah, I mean, but it's also again one of those bases that it's just not popular. So
Yeah, there's also how you're talking about Lunar Climb. I can definitely see that's one of the least popular of the domination maps, but I feel like it's a little strange to open up with that one. That seems like domination maps, they could go either which way. Like, we've seen a lot of times on Lunar Climb where the final point is A and you just stay in overtime. A lot of teams can just get into a flow state, and sometimes that's what you need to go with when there is a strong team like Skill Issue.
yeah, definitely. And it looks like the next few maps are going to be Buried City, Colony, Ironworks, and Ministry. Yeah, I mean these again are really normal. Buried City is of course a proxy for Space Fortress, which is the new map. Nobody wants to play it. I get it. At some point, maybe we have to force it into the map pool in the finals to see it played. But yeah, you know, it is one of those things. Colony trading being banned by Skill Issue is very interesting. I definitely think that they see the Sakura's Zeta, and definitely Valid's Ashamara as being a very poignant threat, and I think it's a pretty solid ban.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially because like these kinds of open maps are open to a lot of different kind of strategies, like how you're saying there's a number of units that are available, but these are just maps that people feel just comfortable going to. Valid, again, is actually extremely comfortable on that map from his previous time in Gugang and everything. And it's something that we've seen played on a couple of times. I know I've seen some of the Burnsiders just not have an issue playing on that map when you run into them on casuals and everything. You can definitely find out what are people's least favorite maps if you just play Jivo for a little bit and you run into these folks. People will like to open their mouths when you go to Ministry of Defense.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is one of those things that you have to be a little bit aware of, and we do see UCC get banned, so that's pretty interesting. You know, Flag Fort, okay. So we're seeing a lot of the more common maps. It's a shame Flag Fort, you know, hook cam and everything. Same thing with Ironworks. So you know, that sucks. But I mean, this is Burnsiders trying to play into their strong suit, Harbor City, right? Conveyance Facility, I think, is one that a lot of the teams still don't know how to play. But you know, if it's a map that the team feels confident on, hey, give it your best shot.
Yeah, actually, talking about that with you just a moment ago is Conveyance Facility. Again, it's a bit unexplored. I think it's a great map. Ironworks and Conveyance Facility that came out at the same time. Both of them are really solid maps. Conveyance Facility, we need to sink our teeth into it a lot more. And unfortunately, there's such a limited time. So there's a bit of a trade-off. How you're saying is, like, you should learn how to play all of the maps. True. But there's also a limited amount of time. So do you just try to learn a new map that no one else is learning? And even if you're half decent at it, maybe you can bring that to the table? Or do you just try to stick to the maps that you've been playing on for months and really get good at them? Like Harbor City.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a question that all the teams need to be asking themselves. But you know, it does look like we do have our setup. It is going to be Mountain R&D and a conveyance facility. So we are going to see Mountain R&D get picked by Burnsiders and conveyance facility picked by Skill Issue. Maybe Skill Issue is a little but more confident on Conveyance Facility. It's going to be interesting. The leftover maps are going to be Quarry, Thermal, and Harbor. I'm interested to see what they're going to choose as the decider. I think Thermal Plant can go either team's way. I think Quarry definitely favors Burnsiders a little bit more. Or actually, Harbor City favors Burnsiders. I think Skill Issue actually takes Quarry more favorably there. Look at their...
And bomb maps can also swing really hard.
Well, the big thing is that I think Skill Issue wins Quarry based on Orbit and Mikazuki, right? You have two very experienced melee players. Melee is extremely powerful for locking down those bomb sites. Harbor, Burnsiders, with the Mahiru and the sniper setups, they're a lot more... Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. They are a lot more focused on those types of units. Again, Thermal can go either way. The teams aren't too unbalanced on that one. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, Mountain R&D also... I think this is a wise choice by Burnsiders for their first map. This is the Jivo map that people like to go to. It's very hard to go wrong on that map, as you were talking about before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a mirrored. But it's also really good to kind of get a feel for your opponent and also warm up your team properly. Most people, they'll play before they go into their matches, but it's completely different when you actually go into the real match. Mountain R&D gives you a moment to actually calibrate how you should be playing and how you should be playing against your opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely think that, and it looks like Quarry and Thermal are going to be the ones getting removed from the pool. It is going to be Harbor City as our decider, so this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, hopefully we do get to see Harbor City today. I think we can definitely do. Both of these teams are pretty good. They have a lot of players, common names that we've experienced. Really going to get a good taste of how things are going to go with Mountain R&D, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be a really good warm-up for both teams. Get that micro going, get that macro, get that rotation in their heads, really get locked in. And it is going to lead to, I think, you know, some better play. So let's get these systems set up so that we can start talking about unit bans.
Oh, yeah. Unit bans, this is going to be really interesting as well. I think it's very likely that we'll see Zuck 2 melee banned.
Potentially. I mean, there's a very big potential there to see those units banned. Okay, it looks like Burnsiders is going to be taking attack on both Mountain R&D and Conveyance, and it looks like they'll be taking defense on Harbor City. So, yeah, this makes sense. Everything seems to be in order here. So, let's get into the unit bans. It is going to be Skill Issue. Banning first. I mean, I'm interested to see what they're going to choose because there are a lot of really interesting options here. You know, Marasai, Sazabi. I think Ashamar is a really good ban. Z2R is a very strong ban. Camphor, a little bit less strong, but definitely still a strong ban in comparison to Z2R. Like, I think it's just a little bit less.
Yeah, there's also a little bit of the strategy behind it. Like, Camphor may not be the best kind of ban, but it lets you run a couple more strategies. If you really do want to run Sazabi or Dawn, for instance, getting rid of Camphor is that insurance for those units.
Okay. It looks like... Okay, so they're banning Jim.
Not a bad ban at all, especially for Mountain R&D.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very versatile unit. I'm a big proponent of GM. It's been getting played more and more, which is nice to see. This unit definitely... It brings a lot to the table, and it lets you run a few cheater kind of strategies, just because the heal grenade... There was a little bit of a nerf to it, but it's not too big of a nerf. And Barbatos being banned also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Especially with the GM ban, is because GM is one of those units that can just actually handle Barbatos, being able to smack it, especially on this map where Barbatos doesn't have free reign, but it can feel like it on the A and C points.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our bands, we have our teams set up. Let me just get the actual bands written into here. It is going to be Jim and Barb. So that's interesting. Leaving Z2R, leaving Camphor, and Susan. That's okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand it. If you feel comfortable enough doing that brawl, then it does make sense to take out the Barbatos. We do have really good Barbatos play from Skill Issue here, so it also opens you up to not having to worry. If you're running your Hyperion, you don't have to worry about a Barbatos jumping on you, and if you're not planning on running Barbatos on this map, just take it out.
Alright, and we are ready to go into the match, so let us get into... Click this button, okay. Let us get into the first match of Burnsiders and Skill Issue. Round 1, Mountain R&D.
Yeah, again, a little bit of slow burn getting here, but here we are finally going into Mountain R&D.
Oh, geez,
do you think these teams will be trying to adapt their units towards the initial point?
I definitely think so, yeah.
Yeah, because running Dom, for instance, running Dom on A or C can be good if you feel like you're going to be taking the initial hill. But sometimes there will be the kind of strategy where you split off and have too much flank, and trying to run Dom up against that initial impact can be fairly poor. But then there's also B point. It could change a couple of strategies, especially because we're not going to be seeing GM. It might not be the case.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see what the teams choose to play here.
Your goal is to capture the target waypoints. The mission is about to begin.
Yeah, hovering over the GM, and there is the Hyperion. Makes a lot of sense, again, without the bar. Totally fine to be going. And we are seeing Overdrive on the Ashamar, and Zeta coming out as well. Lacram also running around with the new unit Camphor. And we're going to see the initial flying combat. A lot of lasers going through the air.
Yeah.
Weeb getting picked off. And Zakatu Melee showing up, also not a surprise at all. But it seems like...
It's a little bit of an overextend there to try and deal with Lacram. It's 3-on-1. They are going to find him, but at what cost? The Burnsiders definitely do have early point control over A, and that is going to translate into probably about 15-20%. So, you know, at what
yeah, with
cost?
how things are going.
Yeah, with how
we
things
definitely
are going.
see the Dom. The Dom on the hill. We see it right here, actually getting the value of just being able to rain down as many rockets as you want. Broken Butter and managing to stay on there for like another 4%.
Yeah, Saint Michael sitting on the point as Dom Trooper. He is alone, but Mikazuki and Weibo quickly find themselves with him. Sakura does take out Michael. He is looking to pick up something, but this duel, I think, is something that Sakura doesn't want to get himself into. Yeah, especially with that Zakatu Melee, he definitely wants to give up there. I have a feeling he's going to go down in the interim, but...
They do give back the hill just for a little bit. That was not a very long rehold, but it's every little bit of percentage, it seems like they're fighting for it. No early rotations, there's just a lot of scrimmaging going on.
Yeah, it does look like that. All charges are looking pretty interesting. It does look to be going into the favor of Skill Issue right now. So, Bone Calc getting really close to his ult, Broken Butter getting very low.
And we're seeing a little bit of dancing around. This is actually a very good showcase right here. Is trying to go in on Skill Issue as they're already on the point can be very difficult, and you can already see that they're starting to get slashed apart. But Exia running through, providing a little bit, but it's not better than the Susan.
No, Mikazuki definitely using the ult there for Camphor. To no avail. Sakura finds one. Valid finds another. It's up two. But they don't translate, and this is the interesting part, is Burnsiders finds two, but doesn't translate it into point control, doesn't translate it into point pressure. Only now is it flipping over, now that they've staggered another two, so...
Yeah, really not comfortable enough on just a couple of picks. They feel like they need to get a lot, and it costs them the point right there as well. They need to have actually an answer to the Susan Zoc 2 melee. It's just too much of Brawl here on B.
Definitely think they need to take more advantage of the picks that they get. They did have a two-man advantage that they just translated into nothing.
And here comes a scoop.
Yeah, which could... I mean, it pulls two. That's three. That's half the team, you know, pulled away.
Yeah, but they do get the repair off on their own Hyperion.
That's true. But, you know, that isolates people on their side, you know.
Weave also goes down.
That can
and here we're seeing the Zedel go through. It's going through, and it just feeds rage to the Zoc 2 melee. They do manage to get the conversion on St. Michael and get him down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Zolta also going to go down to Sakura Chiona there. Orbit getting really low. Mikazuki looking to defend there, but Broken Butter is going to pop Hades, and is going to try to go extremely aggressive. Overdrive, overextending, does have the punch available.
You're looking for it.
I mean, there's an opportunity right there. Is a really good volley. Broken Butter's getting taken out.
And we see
Sakura
right
Chiona
there.
Activates the,
are they going to actually get the revive off? And wow, there we go. They have the point control. They have the revive.
Orbit's getting really low though, so they have to be really careful here.
Oh, and there's the punch on St. Michael, and we're also seeing Exia go through. They canceled Weave's ult with the Exia slash. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, Mikazuki gets put low. Zolta and Orbit are looking to put into high control here, but Sakura spaces out Zolta there and allows them to get Orbit a little bit more isolated there. Zolta getting put one, gets taken out. See if that turns into a revive later. The Crumb's Camphor. Ooh,
we also see swap over to RX, get off the Ashimar. I definitely agree with that. You're going to be going onto the B point. You're not going to have as much value on Ashimar, especially after the punch getting canceled out by the slash. It can definitely feel like I don't want to run into that situation again, even if I run into the ult.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like Fridnar's shield getting really low. Bonekel standing up very close by. The skewers are available. There's about 5 ults available currently, almost 6. Orbit
Ooh, and Transam. And we're seeing, Scoop coming through. Does not catch the Camphor. I think they're going to be able to just get the revive off, but that's enough space is they're able to actually get a hold of the point. I think we're going to be seeing the Nimbus from St. Michael followed by the Spin just to wipe everyone off the point in a moment.
If Michael, doesn't get taken out, let's see if that res does go through. If there is one, it doesn't look like his body's there. It looks like that was a full kill. Weibo, though, C9 almost happens there. Weibo almost flipping the entire point in the favor of Skill Issue. They are going to flip it because of the overextend onto Burnsiders going after that A low ground push. Whoever was there.
Oh, and now this is going to be extremely difficult to be able to punch into.
If the spin to win, finds Broken Butter and finds Fridnar.
They might just end up being a little too stagnant here. They might need to just rotate around a little bit.
Zoc
2 melee holding him down.
Absolutely annihilating everyone.
Yeah, just holding him back.
Yeah. Oh, the punch comes out.
Big punch, actually.
Is it going to be enough, though? Because you do have Bonekel right in their face. They are both absolute. Is it going to be enough? It's still in the
but you do have Exia going around, able to touch the point repeatedly. And there's the can. Yep, and that's just going to be a lot of denial.
Yeah, that Gundam ult you were talking about definitely coming in. Sakura getting extremely low. Does have Transam active, though, so that is going to be a shame, having to waste so much of Transam in an attempt to survive. From getting put low. Mikazuki getting put to half. It looks like the Zeta of Valid is going to be finding a flank angle here onto the point. Gets Orbit half, but it looks like the rest of Skill Issue is there to support him. Zolta pops bubble. This is really close.
Here we go. Yeah, this is a nice dance back and forth.
Gets lost. The point gets flipped.
Grab a hold of the point for a little bit. This is going to buy them a little bit of time, but it's just an Exia.
This is what's really interesting, though. Valid. The double slash for out of Sakura does find Zolta and St. Michael. Bone Kill,
It's
though,
not
immediately on
free
point. Does
enough,
have the
though.
spin swing, does
Oh,
pop
there
it.
we see
Looks
it.
for 2. Does get Broken Butter. Is looking for Valid. Does find him. This is
Yet
what's-
another spin, actually. Very great play from the Zaka too, and I think no,
No,
they're
Overdrive is
managing to
still
still
there.
touch it.
I'm pretty
There's
sure
so much
Sakura can get
timing
there in
on the
time,
bot,
actually.
and
Yeah,
you
he
see
does.
Exia with the 3 dashes.
Yeah, this is actually really close because it's not going to be enough.
And a nice body block there by Susan, making sure Pale cannot touch it though. But right there, you get to see a lot of Exia value. The real strength of Exia on this map in particular is the points are just so close that you can just dash over there.
Yeah, you really can, and on top of that, the very vertical way that you play this map allows Exia, Ashimar, Zeta, units like that, even to an extent Susan, to really clear line of sight and move around in ways that they just really can't on other maps, and that's really advantageous for them. So it's really interesting to see what they're going to continue to do. Burnsiders actually did a really good job in putting up a fight there. I have a feeling if they were just a little bit better about their ult usage, I think they would have had that, because their ult economy, even though it was slightly behind Skill Issue, definitely could have caught up and made a very big difference there. I think Sakura having his Overdrive, I forget the name of it now.
Oh, the Transam?
The Transam,
or...
yeah, having that Transam be activated and then immediately getting put to 1, having to waste it effectively to live, you know, that really sucks.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I also think there's also the case where after Hyperion on that, you might better be off on swapping to another unit, because you have these 2 melee units that just rush you down. It can be very hard to interact with. And right there, we see Exia actually jumping in from the side and getting the flank. Bokel barely getting out of there, and they're going to have to sit down on HP. Zolta going down.
Yeah, Zolta
and
getting
it seems
grabbed
like
by the
holding this.
the Mahiru stun there, so that's actually really interesting. Lakram actually picking up 2 with the Mahiru. It's one of those things, you have to be really careful about the Mahiru play. The stun almost gets Weibo. Doesn't because of the shield. Really smart play with St. Michael. Now alone and overextended, trying to...
And they're going to get the revive and the points. It seems like they have the hill, they have control.
Ooh, it does seem like Valid does get picked up by Orbit and Zolta, though. So, high control goes back to Skill Issue.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice back and forth. They are not all standing on the hill, but it's Mahiru, Ashimar. They can just hop back onto the hill if they really need to. And you're actually seeing a lot of Exia go through right here.
I was going to say a 1-for-1.
Weaving back and forth.
Yeah. That corridor is actually having a lot of effect there. Bone Kill getting Ticker out with Sakura. Sakura's really putting a lot of work into keeping the enemy team stunned, into keeping them really pressured, making it so that he's just punishing every single overextend, every single idle, or every single unit that's alone, every single, flanker, stuff like that. Just doing a really good job of keeping everybody locked down.
Yeah, and they just stand on the point as well. They're just moving around, and we see not even an early rotation. They held the point to the very end, and then hop down to B.
Yeah, it's a really good rotation out of Burnsiders. It's really smart. The fact that Skill Issue decided to pull back allowed them to do that even better. Mikazuki in the back line is getting really low. Sakura is going to chase him down. Overdrive as well. That could potentially be an overextend that Skill Issue can take advantage of. It does look like Bokel has activated his armor.
Now, it's a similar situation to before, where we've never swapped off of RX, so we're going to see the can have a lot of value here. But now Lakrum's going to be on Mahiru, so they might be able to actually get this point, and they'll just hold on to it a little bit better.
Yeah, Bonekel does find Broken Butter there. Broken Butter was in Hades, my bad. It's not. The teams aren't the only ones who are slow today.
Here comes the Ken just talking about. Oh, they actually managed to destroy it. Bonekel tried to protect it with the post from Zaka 2 melee, but it was just not enough. If Pale Rider wants to look at something to kill
does
it,
find the Lakrum. Ooh, the punch comes out. The counter punch does come out from Overdrive. Does find a Bonekel. Is going to convert into a kill. It is still in the favor of Skill Issue though.
I think it's in their interest to just rotate a little early here.
Yeah. Important things to note there. Ults used in that engagement was Lakrum, Overdrive, and Weibo. So that was 3 ults, 2 from Burnsiders.
Oh, we also seen, the Zeta go through.
Yeah, we did. So.
Oh, and here comes a scoop attempt on the Mahiru and...
Okay.
There
A
we
double
go.
skewer out from Zolta onto believe that was Lacrum and Valid, so really good double pick there. St. Michael is going to...
The same corridor, but does not produce the same. It looks like the mines catch him. Very close save right there. That could have just been 3.
You know, I think we did see that on Burnsiders. No, it was Pancakes versus For Fun on Quarry. The second point there on B. We did see those mines do a lot of damage.
The mines saved the day.
Yeah, and really save, kill 2, so... You know, you gotta be really careful with those mines. You gotta be really paying attention. Overdrive does get taken out. The Weibo and Zolta
and speaking of those mines, Lacrum just laying down everything. There's so many explosions going on right now.
He's playing it really well, though. It does find Mikazuki. Orbit getting half. Sakura,
it seems both teams are comfortable just trading back and forth at this point. Just a little bit of percentage here and a little bit of percentage there.
Yeah, and it does look like Sakura is trying to play the long game. He's trying to be very patient here. Does see Bone Kill, does see St. Michael. He's just trying to harass from afar. Lacrum's underneath. They aren't going to get this point, but they are trying to go for an early B control, Burnsiders. So we'll see how well that converts over. Bone Kill does find Pridnar.
And again, we're going to be seeing... I think this is going to be extremely difficult for them. This is a similar situation before. We have Transcend from Orbit, we have the Nimbus from St. Michael, and we have Bonekill ready to just go about with another Beyblade. They have to really hold on to this point and just stomp through one of these people, like, right before they can actually pop off.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the important things. You know, we do see Valad getting his ult up, so it is now going to be 2 ults to 3. Lacrum also gets his ult up. Bonekill is going to be going to spin to win.
There it is.
Let's see if that converts into anything good here. Does find Broken Butter, does find Pridnar. Zolta there, getting Broken Butters down. That's really crucial. You do have the 80s. St. Michael popping his Screaming Nimbus there.
Yeah, we get the Nimbus going through right after the spin. It does not save the unfortunate Zuck 2. But we see quite a bit here. Ooh, the Mahiru laying down all of the grenades. They got Rendo all over the place.
It did put a lot of damage out there, and it doesn't seem to be translating into point control, but it definitely did do something there. Burnsiders really needs to think about using an ult here. Overdrive does use punch.
Yeah,
and Valid.
Punch on the pose, though.
Oh, it barely misses Weibo, but the ult still doesn't go through. Broken Butter does pop his Hades now. Getting put low, though.
See,
the
skewer! The Transamp!
To save the Hades. Okay. This does go in the favor of Burnsiders. It is 87 to 89.
Actually going Transam to their spawn to catch him from behind as Exia. That's very... What a difficult thing to deal with. And we're seeing, like, they are staggered. But they're staggered so low, not able to just rely on posing.
He does get there in time. Mikazuki instantly touches Zolta, going for his skewer. Finds no one. I think that's going to be it in the favor of Burnsiders. Okay.
And see, there we go. That's the kind of adaptation that you need right here. I think the Mahiru is the biggest part.
I definitely do think the Mahiru was impactful there. It was a lot of really tight chokes and doing lots of damage by bouncing it off a whole bunch of walls. B point is really strong for Mahiru on this map. If you get a consistent, if you get like BA, B, or BCB or something like that, or some combination of that, getting 2 B points is definitely favorable for Mahiru. Of course, getting CA, C, or the
getting CA, C, that can be a little bit more difficult, especially because they have Dom. Dom being a lot more comfortable on those points, and we're getting a lot of Dom value. Not too much on the Screaming Nimbus. I feel like the last one missed its mark a little bit, maybe thinking that there was more of a team fight going on, but... The spins that are coming through, we're definitely getting a lot of value coming from those, actually just wiping almost the entirety of the team when they come through.
Yeah,
but now here we're seeing B again, so we actually see, that is Heavy Arms from Zolta.
Yeah, I wonder what made him so concerned to be continuing in the Hyperion camp. Losing the tank is going to provide some form of help over to Pridnar, because now he doesn't have to play a mirror match. This is like Broken Butter is under the pressure of Orbit. He's going to find him, though.
It's also going to be really difficult. they have not been able to get a point for free because of Exia. Exia just able to just tap it for just a second and just deny you. And then that, I don't know, we're seeing really good Dom play, but I don't want to be trying to hit an Exia dashing around this Dom. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that one. Looking at the ult charges, Weibo definitely getting really close. Valid. Lacrum getting also very close. It is a B-point spawn for Lacrum, so we were talking about that. That's going to be really useful. Bonekel does find Krignar, also does find Overdrive. Looks like Saint's going to be picking that one up for him. Valid is trying to maintain point control. This is a really good usage of staying alive on the point. Ooh, Sakura just jumping up instead of jumping to the side.
Yeah, a little unfortunate there, but it's still quite a lot of value, a lot of ult charge, but Lacrum going down is really unfortunate. You're going to be a little slower to getting over to C, but we also see Zolta swapping over to Sazzabi. I think that they're trying to find a feel for what should be best here, and this might be very impactful for this point, but B is definitely a lot tougher for Sazzabi to have an impact on when they don't have their ultimate charged.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and it does look like Overdrive is going to be trying to get a flank in there, though. Orbit
and we actually see Lacrum pop the Mod Hero ultimate going through, just laying down a lot of grenades vaguely, and Weeb is just, has no HP, torn apart, Orbit as well.
Sakura does activate the Trans M, let's see what he's able to do with that. Bonekel does use the stance, so that is going to put C2M at a slight disadvantage, is going to be caught out for that one. Weibo getting put to half. It does look like the Burnsiders do have point control. Very
and the punch on Lacrum right as
a huge punch comes out for Overdrive, but a little bit discombobulated there. The coordination of the Burnsider is not going through too well. The punch comes out from Overdrive, but does interfere with Valid's Zeta ult, so that is slightly unfortunate. Valid also.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit, but we are seeing a lot of this Zeta just escaping a lot of situations where he should be dying.
Yeah, that's true. Staying alive is really important there. Krignar does have the Skewer, but Bonekel and Orbit also have their ults, so it is going to Objective A. It's unfortunate for Lacrum, but I think there might be something to be gained from this.
Lacrum is still fighting, did not get the memo that the rest of his team has left the point and still fighting a Marasai over there.
Yeah, it definitely does look like that. St. Michael is trying to find some shots in. Krignar is half.
And it seems like they might have the initial hold for this point as well. I do agree with swapping over to Marasai, but you were really close on your ultimate with Sazzabi, and Orbit goes down.
Sakura getting hooked by Zolta, and then also finding Bonekill's Heat Hawk is really disadvantageous there. Weibo looking like he wants to punch, really forces back Burnsiders there. No punch, though, on the side of Weibo, so very good fake there. Almost gets taken out by the Molly of Overdrive. Does find St. Michael's res. So, the buffs to Ashamar. Good, but not enough, clearly.
Good, not enough, clearly. Needs another 100 health and another tick of damage for his 5.
Just give me an extra 3, you know? Trust me, bro.
And here we're actually going to be seeing quite a difficult situation. We have to see the spin come out in a moment, but you can't just do a raw Beyblade. They're looking to try and do it, but...
I think using Orbit as the entry tool is going to be really critical here. The spin to...
Ooh, and a punch on them, denying it!
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to go in the way of... No! St. Michael does
pop just doesn't care.
He's the only one on point, though, so this is going to be really unfortunate. Zolta is going to have to look for something relatively soon. The spin
to get there, but it is not enough. That right there is exactly what I'm talking about. That's a difficult position to be in as Saka 2.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there. You know, your team getting staggered in. If only there was just a little bit more coordination with the ults there. Maybe a little bit more thinking about the time. Maybe we're thinking about positioning. We didn't really see Skill Issue go for height too much. They went to go fight on height, but they didn't really
didn't fully commit to it. Like you have a Dom. You need to have that kind of control over the point. That way you can take advantage of the armor gun. But also, just an amazing punch right there at the end, like hitting 2, and then also, of course, we see the other Ashmar get caught out, not by the punch, but just everyone else looking in that general direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course the we did see the Susan Trans Am, which definitely gave his team an opportunity, but yeah, like you said, getting hit by that punch really did kind of seal the deal for the team there. So it's unfortunate, but you know, we'll see what they're able to do in the next map, which is going to be Conveyance Facility. So I'm really interested to see what the teams are going to choose there. They are doing team swaps right now. I believe that's a point capture map, is it? Yes. So they are swapping around their roster. We are going to see maybe some substitutions, see who comes in, see who goes out. So we'll see what Burnside is.
Yeah, what gets decided for this? Again, large conveyance facility. This is very interesting map. Was talking about previously that a lot of people in casual and some of the I think this map has been ran at least once. Seen it ran to where you hold in that initial courtyard right outside of the attacker's spawn, but a lot of people have talked about that you're probably going to be seeing a hold on the point itself as the defenders, so you get less staggered. You can actually stagger the enemy team a little bit. It gives you the opportunity to do a tighter choke point instead of all of these alternative routes where they slip through.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see based off of these teams what they plan on doing. It does look like they're 2 hardware issues. Okay. Well,
it's also going to be a little interesting. Do you think we'll actually see an Exia ban? I don't think we'll see it on this map, but it is possible. They got a lot of value out of Exia.
Yeah, the Exia value was definitely decent in trying to lock down the enemy team, trying to keep them staggered, trying to apply pressure to the flankers. So, but in the overall, I think the ban really should be going to things like, you know, things like Pale, things like, well, we didn't see a Z2R there, but the Camphor, most likely, you know. Some big ults there where the Ashimar punches, you know, so maybe looking for an Ashimar ban.
Yeah, then you run into a couple of different problems. If you decide to ban Ashimar, then you are admitting to for a lot of folks, they can be a little bit of a confidence sort of thing to where you don't want to ban Ashmar because you want to play Ashmar, and you feel like it's less of a threat of them getting Ashmar if you can still have it. A similar kind of thing with Pale is if both teams might not be comfortable with Pale being banned. This is something that we've seen in a couple of other bans when it comes to Pale, is once Pale's out of the picture, you have to change some of your strategies that you may not be ready for. The heal pod is definitely something that doesn't get talked about as much as it probably should be for how a lot of these holds end up going. Say for a conveyance facility here, talking about either of the hold positions that you could do, without the heal pod, holding that could be a lot more difficult if you're not planning on running GM or Unicorn.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what the teams decide to do, but in the current moment, we are waiting on 2 players. There does seem to be an issue with their connection quality, so we'll see that sorted out. It does look like one of them has already fixed their system, so we are waiting on 1 player now, and you cannot see. Okay, so I'm not going to comment on that, but it does look like there has been some developments while we've been setting up here. So externally regarding other teams, so that there does seem to be something interesting there.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, so I assume the news will come out later on. Well, that's effective immediately, so... Okay, so yeah, there's gonna have to. It does appear that there is gonna have to be some sort of meeting internally to
Uh,
discuss those events. I'm not entirely sure what's happening there. It could have an impact on standings, so yeah, that's interesting.
that's peculiar. Anything? Should we discuss that here, or should we like shift gears into?
All I'll say is that it's interesting. So the developments at the CIL during this reset. Um, it does look like though we do have all of our players and our rosters are locked in, so we are going to be able to move swiftly along into the next unit bans. It is still going to be Burnsiders. Burnsiders did take that one, I believe. So let me update the win there. So PDX 1, skill issue 0. We are switching over to Conveyance, Large Conveyance. Alright, we have started the bans. They do have 1 minute now. That is something I've been debating, is reducing the time for unit bans, because it does seem like people are pushing the envelope a little bit. So it looks like it is going to be a bar ban out of PDX.
Again, I don't disagree with that, but I feel like they may not know how to run conveyance facility here, and they might not know what to expect, so just getting rid of the Barbatos ban. And we also see a ban on Exia. Also, that makes a lot of sense. Now they're going to have a significantly tougher time dealing with Susan and Zakutu Melee.
Yes, at the same time though, you do have Marasai still in play, so that is going to be something to think about, especially going into this type of map. Also Turne, you have Dynamis, you have Zeta.
Oh yeah, you have quite a lot of options and a lot of things that you could ban, but it also Gundam as well. Good old RX-78, Grandpa himself. Specifically though, is when some of your frontline, when you're running in these melee units and you just have a unit that smacks them aside, it could also be just, remember the Ashamar ult that got canceled out by the Slash? That can just feel like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to be put into a situation like that again, and just get rid of this Exia. Let's go back to Apachigo, to where we didn't ever have to see Exia.
Yeah, we are still waiting on one player.
And it seems like they finally readied up, so we're going to be jumping back into it. I'm really excited to see what Skill Issue brings to this map, and I'm going to, Burnsiders, what they'll be doing for this map as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it is Exia Barb. 2 melees have been removed from the pool. But in Large Conveyance, I mean, we'll see what that actually does. Yeah, I think we are going to see a stronger Susan presence here. So, really interested to see what these teams are going to do.
Yeah, there's also another thing with this map in particular, is the distance between where the point is. Maybe getting rid of Exia is really good, because if you stagger them, for every other unit but Exia, and maybe some of the flyers, that could be quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what the teams decide to pull out of it here. So I'm interested to see what the teams will decide to pick.
Yeah, as we're loading in here, is you can speculate, you can guess it all, and we'll see. Already, it seems like we're seeing St. Michael go over to the Dom. Very reasonable. Zolta actually hovering over on the GM.
And yeah, it does look like they are doing that. Interested to see what the gym is going to do.
The
We
mission
do
is
see
about-
Crit go over to the GM now that the unit's no longer banned, able to be free and go to it.
Well, we know Kridnar loves their gym, so
They are an excellent gym player. I will say that much. And when you know you're going to be going up against Susan and Zakutu Melee, it's kind of a rough point to go as GM, if I'm honest with you. I think GM is a unit that can 1v1 just about every unit in the game, but Susan is a difficult matchup. It's in the favor of the Susan. And Zakutu Melee also in favor of the Zakutu.
oh, 100%. So we'll see what these teams want to do with this setup. It does look like Skill Issue has finally learned and is going to be playing the A point. So this is the thing that I was talking about, right? And so many times, right, in so many places where you have to really think about how you come back from that starting point. It does look like Skill Issue has learned this. Maybe the setup points aren't the best, but you know, you are forcing them into a very tight choke. So looks like Burnsiders doesn't entirely know what to do.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about here, is that you're going to be put in this situation where you want to try and do a war of attrition, as they've brought the Unicorn Pale GM, but you need to be able to punch through here, and they can just fall back into this choke. And we see Lacrum trying to sneak by, but a little difficult doing that when it's just you.
It is 2 health pots to 2 health pots, though, right now, so they do have to be careful. Both of the alternate health pots here are going to be a little bit more risky to attain. But it does look like Bone Kill is trying to make a push. It's not really finding it, though. Really is looking heavy. It does look like Sakura did choose to go with
yeah,
Unicorn there.
this is really reflecting a lot like the previous kind of matches, going into a much slower kind of thing. But we're seeing a lot of them getting staggered out right here. Kridnar is actually just going on to the point, is a fearless GM play, just bashing heads. Yeah, unfortunately, after the bash goes down, is the Z2M is going to be able to tear you apart fairly easily, even with Rage.
Fight for control of the
Yeah,
Closing on the point, buying as much time as they can, though.
absolutely. I definitely think that Skill Issue didn't really fully understand how to set up here. I definitely think having the Dom, you know, on the catwalk up here that can look over to see where they're coming from, having multiple angles was definitely a lot more advantageous of a setup, but it didn't seem
But
to be
I
that,
still
but-
think that was definitely a lot better than a casual
it's
match, by
absolutely
far.
100% better. They are learning. It's just like I mentioned when we saw them getting ready, they don't really know how to set it up. They understand the idea, but they don't understand the execution. So
And we see a little bit of a... not a negative value Zadol. It does let them push through this initial choke, but not the big thing that he was probably looking for there.
well,
Oh, no.
a decent punch comes out from Weibo. Does transfer into 2 picks. It does go into 4 now. It does.
We
look
do
like,
see a punch from Overdrive. Not too much value there, as he's pushed out by Susan, and even the revive goes off. But Broken Butter's going through, trying to just one-man army everything as best as they can.
Yeah, well, you definitely want to get unstaggered, you know, but it does look like Broken Butters is going for a very strange play here. I like it. I like the Ashimar play. Comes from an alternate angle. Probably should have waited. You know, this is one of those things that I think a lot of players still need to learn, is when not to play the game, right? If Broken Butters had just sat there, waited just a little bit longer, he had a very interesting angle, a very nice, you know, kind of flank that he could have used there. Maybe he just waited for his molly to come up and then peek that corner, would have translated into something a lot better. But nope, doesn't find that. So it does happen.
And we're also seeing a little bit more go on here, to where this second half of the map is a lot easier to defend on and a lot harder to attack, as there's a lot of different split places. But Lacrum just ulting, that way it doesn't matter, is like you can just follow the Dom ult, just follow your path and you'll be able to make it. You'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, and you know, one of the more interesting things I'm noticing here, Jim, is that Burnsiders did go with a far more like again, we were ooh, what a shot on the Broken Butter there. Definitely the play that I'm expecting teams when they finally start to learn this map really do more of. It's go underneath, push that left side height, you know, get into this tunnel. There's no need to push through this height. There's no need to try and contest here to try and go to main. You go underneath. You just go straight through the middle like Sakura is right now, and just try and get onto that height, because I mean, look at the amount of players who are already trying to set themselves up for that advantage. If the whole team were to go do that and then push through with, you know, say Lacrum's Dom ult again, I definitely think that that would have been a much better play in the long run. Orbit is going in here trying to look for something.
Yeah, right now as well, we're seeing it's a little unfortunate. They're not playing to their strengths on defense. They're playing this longer kind of corridor right here where they want to go into the big choke point. But also, Lacrum going My Hero can make that a lot more difficult. And we're seeing, oh, there we go. Weeb misses the punch, but does guarantee the kill.
It does look like... Yeah, it does look like Skill Issue is going to use this as an opportunity to retake. I do hear... Yep, that's the Susan ult coming out from Orbit. Is going to find one, I believe. Yep, does find Krignar. Bonekel finds two more. Mikazuki finds another. That is going to be a near total team kill on the side of Skill Issue. They are going to use this to take that space back. The question is, you know, what's Burnsider's going to do, right? They have 3 ults available. They have Krignar, they have Valid, they have Broken Butter. That is going to be, you know, that is going to be Zeta. That's going to be Hades. It's going to be Gym Mines. You know, what are they going to do to push through here? Broken Butter does look like he wants
definitely
it.
You're definitely in a rough kind of position here, but we're seeing just Hades pop through right here, being told that they're all just chilling in this one area. But we're seeing a lot of other ults trade.
Broken Butter and Zolta. It does go into the favor of Zolta, but the spin to win is there. It does find Lacrum.
GM Ball's actually managing to get the Zakutu melee. Rare footage of them not in their pose, just eating all of those mines.
Yeah, definitely a little strange there, but Mikazuki critically still has his ultimate, right? This does look like in the favor of Burnsiders right now, and it does look like, ooh.
Not even, just only able to touch the point, not get any percentage.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate there. I think Burnsiders had an opportunity. I think it was lost. They definitely should have gone underneath. They wasted a lot of time trying to contest for that open area. You know, like I was mentioning, try and make the push through this choke, right? That you just don't need to do if you go underneath through the tunnel.
I do agree with a couple of the changes that they did, like after the Dom ult, swapping off onto My Hero, being like, hey, I did this big expensive ultimate, it didn't really pan out too much, Dom's not going to be too well here, I'll swap over to something I'm more comfortable with that has a quicker ult charge, maybe we can get something going. And unfortunately, I just think that there was too many ultimates for them to chew through there.
Definitely think so too. Again, we talk about the Burnsiders and their ult economy, you know, their ult usage. Definitely not, definitely impacting them in a way that I think they don't like. So, you know, maybe a couple of adjustments here and there that can be made, hopefully. But we do see the damage numbers. We do see 16k on Weibo, 16k on Zolta. Definitely doing a really good job there. 16k on Overdrive though, so that's definitely not an Ashamar difference here. You know. The Pale Rider, though, the Pale Rider 5k separation, again, is not that big. It's not an ultimate, right? So we're not that far off from each other, but there is some damage differences, I think. Both Doms are actually really close, so...
We're also seeing right here is Valid swapping off and giving Sakura the Zeta and going Dom himself here.
Yeah.
So you actually get My Hero and Dom.
That was the part that I was confused about, right? Because Sakura does have a decent Zeta, and to not have him be running that, I think, would be a mistake, and definitely, I think, it's showing a little bit more now. We do see the push from Zolta coming in, does hit a nade on Krignar. Orbit is looking for that entrance. Those Mahiru mines. See, this is that standard, you know, this is that standard hold from the side of Burnsiders. All it takes is 1 or 2 kills, and they have to give this up.
Yeah, and it's not really much in their favor. They do have 2 healing things, so Susan just trying to go through. It seems like that was a little bit greedy by Orbit. You need a full concerted effort to push through, but once you push through, it should be it.
Speaking of concerted effort, here's Bonekel.
Just going through, a very good pose. Krignar being a little preemptive with the shield bash there, but it seems like they're being a little staggered. Of course, this is in the favor of the attackers.
Yeah, Lacrum, whoa! That overextension there is going to cost him his life. Zolta is going to find him. It does look like Overdrive also gets caught out. It seems like, ooh, Zolta getting very low. seems like Burnsiders definitely is feeling the pressure. This stagger needs to continue from the side of Skill Issue if they are to see success here on this point, because Burnsiders is taking forever to come back. Broken Butter is going to get found. So is Valid. That does equal a 3-man stack. LaCrum also gets taken out. Yeah, this is the kind of
this is just basically impossible to come back from. I feel like I don't know how you are able to push through here unless you have a new gun to build.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of options here. I think a Sazabi would have been a really good pick to try and push through. You know, a gun tank as well. Both of those combined together, or maybe a Hyperion Sazabi or something like that. But yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot missing there. Overdrive is going to set himself up here for a very decent molly. No, doesn't actually think about overextending for it. That's fine.
We do see LaCrum just firing tons of grenades through, just trying to hit anything and everything. A very classic Mahiru kind of play. Orbit also looking to try and push for something, but just not seeing it. Is like now we're seeing a lot more of a forward hold by Burnsiders. Again, we got to see Skill Issue play a lot farther back on both points, and it did play well for both of them. And there we see actually the Dom ult going through it awkwardly, just chasing through and killing Orbit.
Yeah, definitely. Kurnar does throw down the mines. The Dom ult does come out. So does the Crumbs.
Probably just going to be... almost kills Azaka too. He does not get to actually use it for food.
Oh, this could potentially be massive on the side of Mikazuki. Does find Sakura there and is in the backline doing a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Broken Butter...
They just need the 25. And here we're going to be seeing the spin in a moment, as that was just a little bit of a miss from Overdrive there. Oh, the Zeta ult actually catches. They need to kill the Zaka 2 here.
Yeah, it definitely does get taken out, but the Hades from Zalta is going to find... Mikazuki does find Broken Butters. You know, that two-pronged attack is doing a lot of damage. Orbit is there ready. You know, Bonekill does have the ult, and this is something critical. The Burnsiders just don't have a single ult available. Orbit has his ult now. Does go down. This is really dangerous. I think Bonekill's going to get the pop it as soon as he gets it.
They might be a little okay. The GM is building up his ult, one of the cheapest ultimates in the game. And this is a very comical little battle between all of these units off on the side, but we do see the GM balls are back up and ready. I want to preemptively throw them. Oh, we see the spin!
Yeah, is going to find Valid. Orbit does also pop the Trans Am.
There are those GM balls.
Yeah, but I don't think they're in a really good position to do anything. They do find Weibo in the air.
They need to just keep touching this. This is really difficult. I don't think it's going to be able... Overdrive is touching it for as long as they can. Not even the Dom armor gun is enough to just let him get onto the point.
Yeah, so that is going to go into the favor of Skill Issue. We are going to game 3 here. This is really interesting. This is a really interesting set. I wasn't expecting it to be this... actually, we kind of were expecting it to be this close. The Z2M...
yeah, Z2M getting it. Makes sense. Yeah, specifically, this is almost exactly what we were talking about for this map, is if you just feel comfortable running some of the basic strategies for this that are a little more evolved. I think Skill Issue, you're pointing out that they could have held it a lot better, but just showing that they understand this map beyond basic, hey, walk over to the point and shoot guys, it really turned into their favor here to where Burnsiders didn't even attempt to properly copy what they were doing and just did, hey, this is how we've played this map before, we can just try and do that here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it definitely points to Skill Issue for being the first team in the CIL to figure out how to play this map somewhat well. I think every team is looking at that and going, okay, that's something. They're sitting there, they're with their notepads, they're writing it down, they're gonna go, okay, the next time it comes around, you know, and they're paying attention to our notes here from the casters, you know. Oh, so that's what they're saying. They're saying to do this, they're saying to do that. You know, Skill Issue definitely did listen. Hopefully, I think this means that the rest of the league will follow suit very soon. But it is going to be Harbor City. This is going to be our final map. It is going to be Burnsiders on defense this time around. I'm very interested to see what the bans are going to be here.
And again, we were just talking about conveyance facility and about like trying to run it properly. I think we all understand how you can run Harbor City. There's a couple of different ways and some strategies, but they're very similar, and there are some wrong strategies. I think we've long past the days of in the beta sitting down at people's spawns and shooting at them with Mahiru grenades. I think we're way past that one.
I think, yeah, well, maybe. I mean, the Mahiru nade spam goes pretty hard, so I don't think that that's going away anytime soon, especially on defense. But
yeah, but it's not as bad as how it was before. Is
yeah,
where
absolutely.
sitting down outside of their spawn just shooting grenades. I think even before the map change to where there was the little cubby that they added, I don't think that strategy was particularly effective. But
yeah,
we are going to probably still see Mahiru come out. This is a good Mahiru map in a lot of locations, and I know what is required from a Mahiru is actually landing some direct shots to be able to run on Harbor the entire time. Obviously, there are those considerate choke points and spots that people typically funnel into, but you need to be comfortable landing some more direct shots. Maybe not air shots, but I've seen some good Mahiru play here. I'm fairly confident in their ability to bring those more direct hits instead of just relying on funneling down a choke point the entire time.
I definitely agree with that, and it does look like we are having some connection issues again from the side of Burnsiders. It is fine. We are just going to be waiting on them here. But yeah, I think there's definitely some options here. I think Camphor doesn't really change the way that you play this map a little too much. Maybe here and there, but you know, you wouldn't take a Z2R here. Maybe on defense on the second point. You know, maybe.
Maybe. I feel like Camphor is definitely a unit that can prey upon some units that you'll see on Harbor that have success, such as Dom and Sosby, but it's not the same as to where on a lot of other maps you can get similar rat value from both units of Z2R and Camphor, but on this, you typically see Z2R, if it's ran, to use the smoke to not exactly cheese the opponent, but kind of wake them up, be like, hey, there's more going on this map that you need to look at other spots.
Yeah, absolutely, and I definitely think that Skill Issue is going to have an uphill battle here, right? They don't really have, I mean, you have Lacrum, you have potentially, I don't know if Crow is playing, but Valid's Dynamis, right? You have Lacrum's Dynamis, right? So you have two players who are extremely good at using a sniper unit, and we'll see what that translates into here.
Yeah, there's also a couple of other things to keep in mind, like the sort of units that they do like to run is they can just ban out something like Pale, and then sure, you want to use Pale for your defense, but without Pale on offense, you're more punished for trying to run stuff like Susan or Z2M on this map. I don't think we'll see Barbatos unless it's the second half, but there is a strong kind of contention to maybe run Z2M on attack because, you know, you can armor through a couple of things. You bring up your arm, you don't get headshots. So you can try and do a couple of things with those units, but I don't know how you're able to do it without Pale being able to back you up with the heal pod.
Yeah, definitely. So I think there is going to be some questions that have to be answered here, and we are waiting on Burnsiders to get their player in. But yeah, I do think that there are some questions to be answered here, and I think that, you know, I'm not entirely sure if Skill Issue is going to have all the right answers here, you know?
Yeah, we've seen that they are a really good team, but Burnsiders, again, in that game one, they were able to bring a lot. And even in that game two, while they didn't know how to properly hold the map, they were still holding for quite a bit of time. It's just that it fell apart.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will see here, you know? I definitely think that there's some good options to be had. And it does look like they do have their final player. We are going to be getting into this. It is going to be PDX bans.
I'm curious if they will go through and if they will ban
Did Skill
Exia
Issue
again.
ban first last match? Did I mess that up?
No. Burnsider's banned first.
Okay. So we're fine. Okay. Alright, timer has started. 1 minute for the ban.
Ooh, and we see the Mahiru ban. I also agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll almost certainly be seeing Exia on this map, however, but getting rid of Mahiru, that's a strong kind of design because a lot of these players, they have played Harbor City in these more competitive matches, but probably not as much of Harbor City with really good Mahiru specialists the entire time.
I definitely agree with that. And it does look like Hyperion is going to be the counter to that. Hyperion is a really strong unit, but again, that's Saws, you know, so we'll see what happens there. I definitely think that the better Saws might win out today, or just the Saws might win out today, but we'll see here. So I am interested to see what's going to happen now that we have our 2 bans. So let me adjust the
I do agree with the Hyperion ban. Hyperion is in a lot of ways a lot of people, when they try to play Saws, they try and play Saws the way that Hyperion actually wants to be played. And Saws is a good unit. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. But
I mean, he's meta, you know.
Hey, he's meta. He's a good unit. I feel like majority of the units in this game are really good. But what Saws brings to the table is a bit different than Hyperion. And Hyperion also a bit easier in what it wants to be doing. So playing with that bubble, it can almost feel like you're cheating a little bit at times because you can get away with a lot of things that you probably shouldn't. Certain revives, bomb plants, and being able to push through chokes on a team-wide scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to get into it here. The final match of this set, it is going to be Burnsiders versus Skill Issue on Harbor City Map 3. Here we go.
Yeah, we've had a good back and forth between both of these teams so far, and we'll see if that extends to this map. Harbor is one of those maps to where we can have good back and forths, but sometimes it feels like this map can cause teams to stall and just freeze up a bit. And I've been on both sides of that, to where sometimes you just dominate the other team, and other times you just crumble and you cannot get it together and have a proper offense. But I don't suspect we'll see that issue from either team here. And yeah, exactly what you were talking about with the Marasai. We're already seeing from Burnsiders a double sniper, a Marasai, and an RX.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, yeah, Ashamar, I do think is a little bit better of a pick than the RX here. RX is really good, of course, being able to tap a lot of units. But Ashamar, obvious kind of advantage that you're going to be able to get. I wonder if Sakura will swap off of Sniper later, but I don't think so. They're really capable of aiming, so...
We'll see what happens here. Sakura, I definitely think is definitely comfortable in the gym. Whether or not that's a correct play, we'll see. It does look like Marasai is going to be picked by Valid. Again, a really good unit to play here, especially when Hyperion is out of the picture. It's actually really strong. There's no Sazabi on field, so he has read that really well. So
also very, very comical. We are going to be seeing GM. I do like this GM hold spot. I feel like it can be very volatile, though. Is you can get a very good hold, but sometimes you can just be collapsed on.
Yeah, absolutely. Both
but
getting really low there is very dangerous.
Ooh. We're seeing a little bit of a sniper war go through, and we do see Barbatos, of course. I didn't suspect that we'd be seeing Barbatos this early, but we'll just see him try and run through. Zoltra also trying to just... getting grabbed and smacked down. Of course, Krydnar is also getting a lot of value with the fire. It looks like they're going to get the revive off, though.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what Orbit's plan there was, just diving in straight in line to Broken Butters. But it does look like Krydnar does go down, though. I believe this is a 2-man. No, it's just Crid. It is. They are down 1, and this is really dangerous. Skill Issue is going to be able to walk up for free now.
3 minutes remaining.
Onto the point. They are going to try and find something here. Does look like Orbit is going to find Broken Butters.
Orbit's going to get 1. Mikazuki on the point, though, is really rough.
Even if he dies, yeah. Even if Orbit goes down there, taking 1 from the enemy team is 1 too many. You know, Orbit can go down there and trade very comfortably because it is going to take forever for that player to come back. So I think that was a perfectly fine trade. Zulta there, getting the heal pop back up, is playing the Pale Rider, is trying to contest this right side. Krydnar does throw mines down.
GM ult, there it is. Super quick charging ultimate. It's looks like it's enough to actually get Weeb. Weeb was putting in a lot of...
It does want Mikazuki as well. Hold on a second.
A lot of value, but they were just a little too staggered there and sitting back, probably just for safety, saying let's give up the point, not expecting such a turnout. And of course Sakurai getting a little caught right there.
Ooh, the Dynamese duel does go in the favor of Lecrum thanks to that molly there. Mikazuki does back off, is ready to go in and engage. Overdrive is looking up, is trying to get some good mollies in, does find one on the right side. Bumpo getting really low, actually. St. Michael getting taken out by Valid. But a strong push onto the left side here is going to...
Oh, we're seeing the Zed ult.
Finds no one. That would have been really dangerous for Overdrive there, but it doesn't end up happening. He does get the punch onto Bonekel. That is going to secure this right side for Burnsiders again.
This is a very strange hold and a very strange push. It seems like they're giving them a bit more respect than they probably should on the defense.
I definitely agree with that. Broken Butters is going to pop the Hades here, but the counter from Mikazuki does dodge it. Mr.
Such a slow back and forth. They're just slowly walking up, and meanwhile the entire time is Burnsiders are just slowly walking back, and there we see the swap over to Exia. Definitely agree with it for the second half right here. Is no more snipers. It seems like they've all left.
Oh, that is a ban. Okay. Yeah, so, yeah, I definitely think the Exia pick is going to be stronger there on the defense. I absolutely agree. It does look like Valid is going to get taken out before being able to hook Orbit.
And there again, GM ults going through. Again, one of the quickest charging ultimates in the game, and able to just freely throw it without ever having to worry now that there's no Z2M.
One of the things, though, is that the placement of those mines really isn't doing a lot right now, so you have to really think about how you're going to place those things. It does look like Burnsiders...
Oh, we're actually going to... Oh, no, yeah, Weave is taking a hit right there.
It's the second time now.
It's a very big... And St. Michael was not able to just immediately push up. You hear the sound of those mines, and you already know that your teammate's taken half their health from one of them. You might not want to peek over. And we're seeing them trying to bash over one of the units that can just fly. But they do manage to get the hit with the fire.
Overdrive is looking. He's going to go find the punch.
That was a nice-looking punch, but not able to get anything for it. The rest of the team is sitting back and just comfortable holding this choke how they are.
Yeah, they had the opportunity to retake the frontal choke there. They didn't take it with the Ashramar punch. It's a real shame for Overdrive. That was a really good play. You know, Burnsider's probably going to be talking about that way well.
Kind of a little bit of the beef in that punch right there, but...
Let's distract too. Let's see if his team can use that distraction to win maybe an uneven fight. Valid does solo ult Mikazuki. The Bonekel ult is going to go out. Zeta.
Another GM ult. We'll see. Oh, wait, St. Michael! He's trying desperately!
I believe that's twice now we've caught him on camera.
He was doing everything he could.
Yeah, Orbit does find Krydnar, is going to beat out... Yeah, no, that's one of the things with Exia. One of the large disadvantages with the unit is you don't win against a Susan. Your right-click stuns, but it's a Susan. That's an instant move, so you're not going to be stunning anybody there. So
I'm not able to clean up the kill as well. GM shield bashing showing that, yeah, I can fight against Barbatos, but not enough. And St. Michael just go out for another swim.
You know, I think Michael needs to get his swimming trunks on because he's clearly going for a very good dip there. Unfortunately, though, this isn't the Olympics. It is not Michael Phelps. This is Gundam Evolution, and we are in Harbor City. It is 10 seconds left on the point, so that is going to be extremely crucial for him to get back, regroup with his team, make sure they get on point. Mikazuki's ult does find the crumb, does put half of the Burnsiders to half health, but are they don't touch.
Ooh, not touching. He's floating above the point.
Yeah, the vertical hitbox on that is a lot smaller than people think it is. So that is
a bit
unfortunate.
Sometimes it feels like you can be standing on top of the second floor and you can be touching it sometimes. It must be like different heights at different points. Sometimes it just feels like that.
It could be a set height, but when it interacts with a very specific part of the map, you know.
Yeah, it could actually be extended like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Maybe before the map change, because you used to be able to just stand on the overhang and you would be able to deny it before. Maybe before the map change, the point was higher.
Potentially, yeah. There's a lot. So it did extend underneath the catwalk. So there is that. Maybe there is some type of buggy coding still existing with that. I'm not 100% sure of that. But yeah, looking at the damage numbers here though. Let's see.
Ooh. Yeah, let's see these damage numbers. Let's crack them open.
That's interesting numbers so far from the side of
a little all over the place. We are seeing Sakurai go back over to the GM sniper. I think definitely I agree with that. Playing sniper then swapping over to another strong unit. Lacrom also going Dynamite. So we are seeing this double sniper kind of style, but we're seeing something a bit more traditional from Skill Issue here, where we do see Salisbury come out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? One of the things, Jim, is that the Dynamis on the side of Skill Issue is doing enough damage to, while they're not equaling out the two snipers from Burnsiders, is not too far off, right? So, and as I say that, Lacrum does find St. Michael. That is going to be a push. Burnsiders really should be looking to even overextend, get extremely aggressive on this. But it doesn't look like they want to. They really should. They should just be pushing this right side here very strong. Mikazuki finds Lacrum, gets one. Weibo does find Overdrive.
Oh no, this is not looking good. We just see Bonecow just stuck there as Sasebe. The rest of the enemy is just going to collapse in on him.
Yeah, and it looks like Zolta is going to get picked off. Yep. Orbit.
It's just a Dynamite. He has to fight everyone.
No, that's going to be 3 down. I think that's 8 point gone for the side of Skill Issue. He is going to try. Weibo is going to try. Duel Lacrum does get one shot in, but Broken Butters, yeah, and Valid are right there.
And a catch. Yeah, there we go. This is definitely, like, even if you could rush over and touch as Mikazuki, I don't think you even try. Trying to catch it and just getting fished.
That was a good attempt for a read. Unfortunately, Valid was just a little bit smarter than that. Does peek that wide instead of close, and is going to get punished for that, Mikazuki. So that is another stagger into the favor of Burnsiders. They only need 3 ticks for this. So
yeah,
Skill Issue needs to be careful. Actually,
just a little bit.
Lacrum's at 70% ult charge. Broken Butters at 83. Skill Issue needs to be really careful with this.
We're probably going to see right here, it looks like Skill Issue is doing a proper hold of this, while Burnsiders did not do a proper hold at all.
That's the death that you don't want to see with Broken Butters.
Fish!
That's a really good hook from the side of Burnsiders there. A punch.
See a punch right there?
Drive. Doesn't really go through onto Mikazuki, but there's Broken Butters ult. It is going to go in. Zolta is going to counter with his own Hades.
Ooh, but not
get found by Overdrive, yeah. So I definitely think that I think Skill Issue has to be really careful here, because that's 2 ults on the side of Burnsiders that they can just use. Both Kriner and Lacrum really needs to stay alive here, actually.
Yeah, this is actually extremely scary. This Marasai is just going through and just fishing everyone up. We're seeing Valid. He came to Harbor for fish, and he's gonna do a little bit of BM to the Barbatos. Barbatos able to jump back though. I think everyone that he could have grabbed there would be able to jump back.
Valid does have his ultimate. There are 3 there. If he just if he just dashes around and finds it. See, this is the thing, right? The Burnsiders really needed to get aggressive there, right? They had the opportunity to win it. They had the opportunity to put both ults down onto the point. The Gem Mine's on there, get really aggressive, but they didn't. Bone Kill gets taken up by Valent.
We see Sazabi knocked off.
Yeah, we see Sazabi, and then the double
catches
kill.
them.
Yep. And then there's the
and we see
Mine,
GM.
yep.
Oh, GM is just...
I think
that is
going
to be really
Orbit
scary.
is going to solo into this. I'm not so sure about that one, Chief.
This is going to be really
sure
scary. What do you do here? Valent just going through fearlessly. He knows the rest of his team is there. He doesn't care if you fly. Another smack off.
Yeah, this is definitely going to go into the favorite. Well, Mikazuki has his ult. Does get taken out. Someone needs to touch.
Shot down. No. It's just Orbit.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be it then, because Orbit has nothing. Yep, that is going to be inside of Burnsiders. So, okay, yeah, Burnsiders definitely moving themselves up a position. This is going to almost secure their place in the final. They can still be kicked out, I believe, because there are a couple more matches that need to be played. But yeah, this is going to put them just that one step closer to getting into the finals on the 18th.
Yeah. Also, again, Broken Butter getting the game MVP there. I don't know there. I have to give it to Valent. Valent knocked like 7 different people into the water.
Yeah.
And then that sea snake
charge. You know.
Oh yeah, just going through and showing how quickly GM can charge the ult. Just even if some of them may have been a little bit questionable with the mine placement, is if you throw it in such a way to where it's spread out enough, you'll be able to deny a lot of area. And even if it's not where you want it to be the most active, you're able to fall back and just go into those for protection.
You know, not to stir any drama, but Orbit is a former member of Burnsiders. We did see some questionable plays there, so you know it is something to think about going into the future. There,
I guess we'll see. I'm looking the roster of Burnside is going through.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so you know, I think I definitely think that Skill Issue is going to have to go back to the drawing board when it comes to Harbor City. You know, we talked about this at the very beginning of the stream. I definitely think that it was going to be a Burnsider favored map. It ended up definitely being that way. I think, you know, I definitely think the surprise was large conveyance facility in the side of Skill Issue. They definitely have that map locked down more than Harbor. Maybe next time really just trying to lock out that Harbor ban early on for Skill Issue if they're going to be going into the 18th like that. So, you know, we'll see. But I definitely think the first map, you know, R&D, I think that was it's definitely, you know, where the teams shined the most. It was definitely a good warm-up. We definitely saw both teams at their peak there, and then moving into the other two, it really just came down to map knowledge at the end of the day. And
yeah, you know. And also I think for Harbor City right there, what we could definitely experience, I feel like that was a little bit of not having Hyperion. Like,
yeah,
maybe being a bit too comfortable having Hyperion just around and not having it banned. Hyperion is very unassuming as a unit. And just with how they were playing, maybe just not being used to playing that point without Hyperion, that could be something to consider.
Absolutely, and I definitely think that the players are going to be going into this next one really thinking about that. You know, I definitely think Burnsiders is going to be patting themselves on the back, but is going to be thinking about large conveyance a little bit more. I definitely think Skill Issue is going to be thinking about Harbor City more. Both teams, you know, going to be walking away from RD feeling decent. I think Burnsiders is going to have to think about their ult usage, their ult economy, stuff like that. But yeah, so I think overall just a really good set.
Yeah, I think it was a very good set and a very good showcase of adaptation and swapping units. Maybe that was also something that Skill Issue could have done, is once you've seen a couple of people plop into the water, maybe it's time to swap off of your melee units. Like Susan, I feel like was kind of denied a little bit there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, one of the other things was the just that the really big usage of Marasai there. You know, I think the lack of a Sazabi really showed itself on this map. Both teams are going to have to reconsider, you know, not using the Sazabi.
That is also another thing, is I don't think we've seen the funnels from Sazabi there at the end. Just wasn't able to build it up in time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and, you know, ult charge again, right? And I think Burnsiders needs to look to be maybe a little bit more aggressive on this new map, or on Harbor, you know?
Yeah, I think it was a very good showing all around, but that definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, that's something to look into, but I think that's going to be it for us today.
Yeah, it's still a very good show. I always like when set of games goes over to the third.
Yeah, absolutely. We always like to see these close ones, you know. It always helps bring out a lot of the excitement. So, really looking forward to seeing what the teams are going to have for the rest of us in the course of the next couple weeks leading into the finals. So, everybody stay tuned for that. We do have another match tomorrow. Let me get the schedule up for everybody right now so I can inform y'all what's going to be going down. Today was Burnsiders versus Skill Issue. Tomorrow is Globos versus Pancakes at 4:30 PST. That's 7:30 EST. And then on Friday we have Globos versus X War. That's going to be the replay of the R&D that we didn't get before the final. You know, before the patch went live, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they finally got that rescheduled. That's going to be 7 p.m. PST. That's going to be 10 p.m. EST. So a little bit later into the day. But that is going to be a replay of that R&D map.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that one. Obviously, I'm going to be jumping in there and able to go back to R&D. I was a bit of a proponent that we should just go through and just, you know, play the full set instead of just a single match.
Fair enough. And, you know, that probably in the long run would have been a good idea. But, I mean, this stuff, you know, again, if it's a loss, right, we go to map 4. So it's interesting, you know, because it doesn't necessarily mean a one-map game. It could potentially be a two-map game. So
yeah, it could definitely be a two-match game. Definitely, like last time around, it was a really close back and forth the whole way through, which is also why should be, you know, the full Mountain R&D, not just single matches, because it's a bit more of a show, and also, you know, when you play your first match of a domination, it can be a little back and forth, as we've seen here today in Mountain R&D. Is we've seen a back and forth between the first and the second, and then finally, after all the adaptation, get into gear and everything, is like, okay, now for this final third round, we're going to be running things through.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but until then, we'll see you all next time. I've been your host, Lichgrave Labamba. I've been joined by Mr.
Jim Carey, and it's always good to be here. Thank you for having me and joining me with all of this commentary.
Yep, absolutely. And we will see you all tomorrow again. So 4:30 PST, 7:30 Eastern. So until then, have a good night, folks, and we'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.
Sale transition. Spotify going.
Good at that.
set you free. Show you what this world could really be. Here with me, I could set you free. Of the pain and misery and let you be. Here with me, I could set you free. I could set you free. I could set you free. Show you what this world could really be. Here with me, I could set you free. Of the pain and misery and let you be. Here with me. I could set you free. Show you what this world could really be. Here with me, I could set you free. Of the pain and misery and let you be. Here with me, I could set you free. I could set you free. I could set you free.